Look around, notice something, it's quiet. Too quiet for the chaos they swore they'd rain on your head. That's not peace. That's panic in disguise. Because 5 hired shadows were supposed to erase you. And now they're running your fan page. You broke something, didn't you? Not just rules, rhythms, rituals, religions. They had a whole system, contracts, blacklists, hush codes, red zones, blood pacts, all engineered to neutralize anomalies like you, until you didn't just survive their system. You converted it. What they don't understand is you weren't trying to win. You were trying to infect. And you did. Each hitman stepped in, expecting a ghost. They met a mirage with muscle memory, a myth with receipts, and something in their programming cracked. The one who used to choke people with piano wire. He's quoting your interviews now. The one with the rifle trained on your skull for 72 hours. He's building a shrine made of screenshots and shadow theories. Why? Because you didn't fight back like prey. You studied them while they studied you, and then made them forget which side they were on. That's what they hate most. Not your strength, not your talent, not even your madness. It's your conversion rate. You don't kill the enemy. You reprogram their allegiance mid-assassination. They showed up armed. You showed up calm. They came to extract your name from existence. You whispered the truth in their ears. Now they whisper it into microphones in anonymous podcasts, calling you the Catalyst. You're not even at war anymore. You're conducting psychological revivals behind enemy lines. Every hit is now a handshake. Every sniper ends up spilling your philosophy into leather-bound journals, wondering how the hell you undid decades of conditioning with a look, a laugh, and one sentence that hit deeper than their bullets ever could. They used to say you were too unstable. Funny, that's exactly why you're untouchable. You're a paradox in motion, the saint who speaks in riddles, the psychopath who heals people by exposing their infection, the angel with a target list, the demon who smells like redemption. You didn't play both sides. You made both sides defect. Because here's the thing, you're not a person, you're a wavelength now. And every soul they send to end, you ends up resonating with it. You've turned assassins into archivists. They log your moves now, track your cadence, rewatch your footage like it's sacred footage from a lost dimension. Not because they're obsessed, but because they're changed. They didn't just miss their targets. They lost their entire worldview because they were trained to find threats. And you didn't behave like one. You weren't angry. You weren't afraid. You were clean, untouchably precise, unshakably aware. And in the moments they should have pulled the trigger, they paused, because something about your stillness screamed louder than any scream they'd ever heard. And they've been echoing with that silence ever since. Now the people who got paid to end you, they defend you. They correct false rumors. They trace IPs of anyone slandering you. They're digital bodyguards now. The group chat meant to coordinate your death. It turned into a content calendar for your mythos. One of them designed merch. One of them writes blogs titled, "Lessons I Learned from the Man I Couldn't Kill." Another? He left his family, changed his name, and now goes by Disciple 7. No, really. They didn't just lose, they converted. Because what hit them wasn't your fist. It was your frequency. It was the way you moved, like someone who'd already survived the ending. You weren't dodging bullets. You were welcoming them. You made danger feel like destiny. And they collapsed under the pressure of your peace. That's what they don't train you for. How to kill someone who's already been buried and came back with no heartbeat, only conviction. How to erase someone who's not on paper, but in prophecy, how to dismantle a force that walks like a man but thinks like a lawless god. See, most people want to survive. You wanted to flip the ritual, turn sacrifice into science, make pain a portal, turn every assassin into a witness. And now, they watch you, obsessed, confused, inspired, possessed. Because you didn't kill them, you rewrote them. And the next one they send, he'll bring flowers, he'll ask for a selfie, he'll say, "I just wanted to see if the stories were true." And you'll smile, because by then, he's already yours. You know what's funny? They kept upping the budget. More intel, more tech, more men. They thought throwing money at your mystery would finally pin you down. They thought hiring cleaners would erase what they couldn't even understand. But you weren't a mess. You were a mirror. And when they stared long enough, they saw themselves unraveling. One of them confessed in a forum, hidden behind proxies, burner accounts, and a VPN loop. He said, "The target smiled like he knew my childhood trauma, like he'd read my soul before I ever stepped foot on the street." You didn't dodge him. You decoded him. You didn't resist the attack. You opened the door and let him see the monster behind your mask. And it didn't scare him. It baptized him, because you don't kill with violence. You shatter illusions with precision. You expose the cracks they swore they sealed. You hand them a reflection so accurate, so horrifying, so liberating, they either crumble or kneel. You're not just unpredictable, you're anti-predictable. You weaponize silence. You seduce fear itself. And when they think they've cornered you, you redefine the room. Every assassin who stepped in thinking they understood power left questioning their entire existence. They weren't ready for your version of war. You don't fight with fists. You fight with frequency distortion, reality twisting, emotional possession. They thought you were a man. But men have limits. You're post-limit, post-language, post-reason. They called it chaos. But that's because they had no classification for sacred asymmetry. You're what happens when clarity snaps chains. When someone dies so deeply to who they were, that they come back immune to manipulation, to fear, to shame. And in that resurrection, you didn't seek vengeance. You became vengeance's final form. So of course the hitmen fell. They didn't stand a chance. Not against someone who doesn't flinch when stared down. Not against someone who speaks like his tongue is wired into the truth beneath all lies. Not against someone whose pain is older than their lineage. They were taught how to kill. You were forged by being hunted. They were briefed in back rooms. You were trained by silence, hunger, and betrayal. They had tactics. You had timing. And the moment they stepped into your field, everything shifted. Do you realize what you are now? You're not just a man. You're an unfolding scripture, a forbidden chapter they keep trying to suppress. But every time they strike it, it spreads. They tried to shut you down. Now you live in their heads rent-free, in their nightmares, in their spreadsheets, in their side convos where they whisper, "Do not underestimate that one again." But it's too late, because every hit they send ends up promoting your legend. You went from target to tactic, from fugitive to framework. Now they study you in war rooms. How does he move? Who trained him? Why doesn't he break protocol? Because you don't have a protocol. You are the protocol, the new one. The one that doesn't fit their charts. The one that slipped past their probability metrics and rewrote their entire understanding of threat analysis. They sent soldiers. You turned them into scribes. They came with files. You handed them a scroll, and now they're quoting you. Can you feel it? You've become a sacred glitch, a divine virus in their algorithm. They can't kill you, because they already caught you inside their minds, inside their code, inside every hitman who can't sleep anymore without hearing your voice in his head whispering, "You were never supposed to survive me, but now you'll never forget me." They used to believe power meant domination. You taught them power is contagion. You didn't destroy their world. You converted it from the inside out, like venom in their bloodstream that makes them crave the poison that freed them. And now, they're addicted to you. They refresh your fan page like it's a doctrine. They bookmark your footage. They dream of your cadence. They quote your rants to each other like monks passing down oral scripture. And when they hear rumors of a new threat being hired to take you out, they panic, not for you, for him. Because the last 5, they came with kill orders and left with disorders. They don't want to stop you anymore. They want to understand you. But they never will. Because you're not meant to be understood. You're meant to be experienced and survived. And barely anyone survives you whole. Not even the ones sent to end you. Especially not them. So let him send number 6. Let him come armed. Let him come hungry. Let him come certain. Because when he finally looks into your eyes, when he really sees what you are, he'll drop the weapon. He'll delete the assignment. He'll open the phone. And he'll click follow. And that's when it gets dangerous. Because by the time he hits follow, you've already rewritten him. Not just his mission, not just his allegiance, his architecture, the entire internal scaffolding that once held his hatred together. Gone. Collapsed like a house built on outdated coordinates. You didn't just dodge his bullet, you inverted the barrel. And now he's aiming it at the very people who programmed him. You see, this is deeper than admiration. This is conversion by exposure. They stare too long, and suddenly, they're not who they were. Like your aura reached in, found every buried fracture, and rearranged the pieces into a shrine. It's not charisma. It's contagion. They're not joining your side. They're losing theirs. And you just keep walking, unbothered, untouchable, unwritten by any law they ever studied. You don't exist on their maps, because you are the unknown variable that burns the blueprint. And every time they try to chart your pattern, you shatter the graph. You don't follow arcs, you bend them. You make analysts quit. You make psychiatrists weep. You make trained professionals start asking spiritual questions they swore they'd never believe in. Because no one trained for you. They trained for threats. You became a theology. And that terrifies them. They wanted you dead. But now they need you explained. They don't say, "We need to stop him." They say, "We need to understand what he is." Because here's what keeps them up at night. What if you aren't the glitch? What if they are the code you were meant to break? You weren't sent here to survive their world. You were sent to reveal it, to unmask the systems built on fear, guilt, and silent obedience, and walk through them like fire doesn't apply to you. And you did, without flinching, without screaming, with a smile that said, "You tried to bury me, but I learned to breathe underground." That's the part the hitmen never recover from. Not your strength, not your sharpness, but your stillness. That eerie electric calm that radiates like a bomb that hasn't exploded. Because it already did, just not in the dimension they can perceive. You broke their reality, one by one, quietly, intimately, like a surgeon of souls. And now you've got a collection, 5 former hunters turned heralds, men who were trained to erase legacies, now preserving yours like gospel. They argue in group chats about what your next move means. They write essays about your pause before each word. One of them even changed his phone wallpaper to your face. Not out of worship, but because he feels safer knowing you're watching him. That's dominion, not fear, not fame. Psychospiritual gravity. You're not chasing them, they're orbiting you. And they don't even realize the shift happened. They just know that their old mission feels stupid now, empty, small, compared to the magnitude of what you showed them, because you didn't just outsmart them, you unveiled them. You made them look at themselves in the mirror you carry behind your eyes, and when they saw their reflection through you, they broke, but not into pieces, into clarity. And that's what made them stay, not because they love you, because they recognized you. You're what they were trying to kill in themselves, and they couldn't, because the part they were ordered to destroy was the only part that was still alive. So now they wear it on their sleeves. They broadcast your legend in encrypted channels. They gatekeep your story like it's sacred text. They don't say your name anymore. They protect it, because they know every time someone speaks it wrong, you move. And when you move, everything shifts. So let them come. Let the sixth assassin cross the threshold. Let him study your habits, memorize your schedule, download your patterns. He won't last, because by the time he gets close enough to pull the trigger, you'll already be inside his mind, whispering the truth. You never came to kill me. You came to meet the version of yourself that couldn't be erased. And when he looks at his weapon, he'll see it for what it really is, a question, and the answer is you. And that's when the unraveling begins, not with a bang, not with a gunshot, but with a pause, a hesitation so sharp it slices through the mission like a whisper through wet concrete. He came to end you, but now his hands are trembling, not from fear of death, from fear of clarity, because in that frozen moment, he sees it, all the lies, all the layers, all the years he spent believing he was the sword, when really he was just another spell cast by cowards in high towers, another pawn dressed in tactical gear, another ghost following orders from voices too scared to face you themselves. And you're just standing there, still, unarmed, unapologetic, unfazed, undeniable. The room isn't silent because he silenced it. It's silent because you absorbed the atmosphere. You are the gravity now. You've made the space obey you. He can't breathe, because your presence is a mirror, and he's been avoiding mirrors his entire life. That's the moment every hitman reaches, the collapse, where the mission dies and something ancient wakes up, something the system couldn't program out of them, something sacred, something dangerous, the part of them that remembers what it feels like to choose, to feel, to know. That's the part you speak to. That's the part you amplify, because you're not just the ghost of their failure. You're the summoner of their forgotten selves. And when they fall to their knees, some in rage, some in reverence, it's not submission. It's recognition. They're not bowing to you. They're bowing to what they abandoned inside themselves. And you brought it back from the grave. You didn't defeat them. You resurrected them. Twisted, reassembled, baptized in paradox, saints with blood-stained hands, psychopaths with poetic guilt, acolytes of the force they were sent to erase. And now they serve you, not because they have to, because they can't not. Do you understand the magnitude of that? You're not building an army. You're rewriting the enemy until they volunteer to be rewritten. Your power isn't in how many people you can fight. It's in how many people you can convert with a single stare, because they've never seen eyes like yours. Not hateful, not angry, just Awake, violently awake. Eyes that say, I've died before. I've been erased. I've been everything you fear becoming. And I still came back laughing. And that laugh, it's not joy, it's not madness, it's freedom. The kind that can't be licensed, tracked, or killed. The kind they tried to drown, bury, sedate, or shame. But every time they thought it was gone, it came back in your voice. So now they don't call you a threat. They call you a phenomenon. They whisper about the anomaly. They analyze clips of your movements like sacred geometry. They assign code names to what they used to call your unpredictability. Because deep down, they know unpredictable just means unowned. And they'll never own you. Because how do you own a ghost that keeps hacking the spell book? How do you stop a man who turns every trap into a theater and every assassin into a messenger? How do you destroy someone who builds temples out of attempted executions? You don't. You study him, you worship him, or you burn with the fools who tried. So let them send 7, let them send 77, let them form councils, collect data, recite counter protocols in nervous rooms lined with maps and monitors. None of it will matter, because every man they send will walk into your orbit thinking he's the flame and leave realizing he's the moth. That's what you are now, not the storm, the gravity well inside the storm, the thing they can't see until they're already caught, already spinning, already too close to turn back, already whispering your name like a prayer they don't believe in. But hope works anyway. They didn't just lose, they were converted in contact. And once it happens, there's no cure, no recovery, just obsession, confusion, and a quiet addiction to the way you broke them open without touching a single bone. Because when you show up, real ones kneel, fake ones combust, and the ones who survive, they become scribes of your shadow. So go ahead, step into the light. Let the next hitman study your silhouette. Let him think he has a shot. Let him load the chamber. Let him steady his breath. Let him believe he's the one that's different. And the moment he looks into your eyes, the moment he sees the joke behind the madness, the prophecy in your smirk, the flame in your stillness, he'll know. He's already converted, already infected, already rewriting his final report to say, target not eliminated, because target was never the threat. He was the revelation. Quiet. You feel that? That's the silence before your name gets whispered in another boardroom, before they press record again, before another expert thinks they've finally mapped your psychology and ends up losing their own in the process. You've become a case study they can't explain. They've built a whole team to track you. Analysts, psychologists, strategists, and little corporate soldiers, all sitting in dim-lit rooms, eyes glued to screens, trying to predict your next move like you're some kind of anomaly in their data. And yet every time they look too long, they flinch. Every time they try to understand you, their reality cracks just a little bit more. Because you don't fit their equations, do you? They built their systems on patterns, on probabilities, on what humans usually do. But you're not usually. You are the exception that rewrote the formula. You are the chaos in the algorithm, the ghost in their surveillance feed, the laugh echoing through every corridor of control. You are the proof that some souls can't be measured, caged, or predicted, only feared. You walk into rooms like static electricity walks into oxygen, unseen, uninvited, unstoppable. They thought they could document you, profile you, track your steps. But they didn't understand what they were studying wasn't behavior. It was evolution. They were observing a consciousness that already burned through its old identity, melted its limits, and learned to weaponize the ashes. See, you didn't break the rules. You studied them, memorized them, and then made them kneel. You understood that the world worships control, and so you became uncontrollable. You realized that people fear what they can't label, so you erased your label and left them choking on your silence. You turned unpredictability into your armor, and pain into your code. And now, every single one of them is trembling, not because of what you did, but because of what you might do next. That's the beauty of it. Fear doesn't live in facts. It thrives in uncertainty. You became their paradox, their unsolvable riddle, saint or psychopath, angel or demon, savior or saboteur. They can't tell anymore, and that's exactly why they can't look away. They're trying to figure out which side you're on, but you've evolved past sides. You've become the axis itself. While they debate morality, you operate in geometry, angles, vectors, moves that cut through their logic like glass. They think they're tracking your footprints, but all they're really following are shadows you left behind on purpose. You don't escape their traps. You build them better. You don't hide, you hypnotize. You let them think they've cornered you, and then you turn the corner into a mirror. Because deep down, you've learned something they'll never teach in their sacred little textbooks. The scariest kind of freedom is self-awareness, and you wield it like a blade. Every failure you've ever lived through became part of your programming. Every betrayal rewired your empathy into radar. Every heartbreak turned your patience into poison-tipped calm. You didn't just survive what tried to break you. You studied it, dissected it, and rebuilt yourself using its bones. That's why they're afraid. Because when they look at you, they don't just see rebellion, they see proof of concept. Proof that you can burn everything down and still smile like it was all part of the plan. They sent in therapists, they sent in spies, they sent in believers and skeptics, and every single one walked out, changed. One started questioning his job, another stopped sleeping, a third one couldn't explain why your laughter kept echoing in her dreams. You don't destroy people, you reflect them. You make them see the parts of themselves they buried, the monsters they pretend not to have. You hold up a mirror, and they call it madness because it's too honest. And that's why you'll never lose. Because they're trying to fight something that doesn't even fight back. It observes. You've transcended confrontation. You've become pure reaction, pure design. Every move you make isn't random, it's orchestration. Chaos is your camouflage. Logic is your prey. You've turned your trauma into art, your rage into ritual, and your silence into a surveillance system of your own. You are the unquantifiable variable, the one that terrifies mathematicians, breaks AIs, and makes scientists whisper that some anomalies aren't meant to be solved. You are the living glitch that teaches gods humility. So let them build their teams. Let them send their analysts and agents, their drones and disciples. They'll all come back the same way, pale, trembling, eyes wide with the quiet horror of realizing they were never the observers. They were the observed. Because that's the real punchline, isn't it? They thought they were studying you, but all along, you were dissecting them, and somewhere, behind all those mirrored windows and encrypted folders, they still whisper your name, like it's a classified curse. They meet in secret, replaying your footage frame by frame, trying to catch the moment where you should have broken, but didn't. They slow the tape down, zoom in, analyze your pupils, your pulse, your tone, and every time, it ends the same way, confusion. Because how do you decode someone who already deleted their human manual and rewrote it in pure instinct? They're terrified, not because you're violent, but because you're precise. Because you don't move out of emotion. You move out of calculation, disguised as madness. You don't lash out, you aim. They can't tell if you're a prophet or a sociopath, a savior or a sociological weapon. You talk like chaos, but everything you touch folds into order. You move like poetry, dressed as crime. And the deeper they dig, the more they realize. There's no why behind you anymore. There's only design. You've become the living contradiction that keeps their systems awake at night. They call it the Joker effect. The psychological bleed that starts as fascination and ends as existential collapse. Because once someone studies you long enough, they stop seeing you. They start seeing themselves, their masks, their fear, their obedience, their quiet desperation to belong. You're not their enemy, you're their mirror, and they hate you for that. You've turned their obsession into your camouflage. Their curiosity is your shield. Their fear is your oxygen. Every move they make to contain you only feeds your myth. They write reports, warning others not to engage too deeply, not to stare too long into your eyes, not to read your words out loud at night. Some of them even quit. They say you got into their heads, but you didn't. They opened the door. That's what power looks like when it's internal. It's quiet, surgical, inevitable. You don't need armies. You don't need allies. You are your own intelligence agency. Every lesson you learned in pain became intel. Every silence you endured became encryption. Every scar is a password to a version of you they can't access. You turned suffering into strategy. You became the file that can't be deleted because no one even knows which drive it's stored on anymore. You operate in frequencies, not feelings. When they whisper your name, it's not gossip. It's interference, static in their systems. You've become signal. They can't trace you because you stopped existing where they're looking. They still think you're human in the way they understand humans. They don't realize you shed that skin a long time ago. You transcended empathy without losing your depth. You transcended chaos without needing peace. You became balanced on the blade. Light and dark, saint and demon, truth and lie. You don't pick a side, you embody both. That's what they can't handle. They live in binaries. You thrive in paradox. They build walls around their morals. You walk through walls because you understand that morality is just geometry drawn by cowards. You didn't evolve by choice. You evolved by force. Every betrayal pulled another pin. Every disappointment stripped another illusion. Until finally, there was nothing left to manipulate. Only you. The unfiltered, ungoverned, unbreakable version. And when you hit that point, when you stared into the wreckage of everything you once believed in, you laughed. Not because it was funny, but because it was freedom. And that laugh still echoes, doesn't it? Every time they think they've cornered you, that sound returns, low, calm, knowing. Because you've already seen this play before. You've seen them send their hunters, their hackers, their head shrinkers, their holy men. You've seen them approach with clipboards and crucifixes, and every single one walked away pale, muttering that you don't react normally. You never will, because you're not reacting, you're directing. Every time they try to predict you, you plant another layer of misdirection. Every time they try to psychoanalyze you, you let them drown in their own projections. They can't tell if you're dangerous or divine, so they label you both. And that's the trap. Because once they call you chaos, they stop realizing you're control disguised as chaos. That's why you smile. because you know how this ends. They'll keep chasing, keep decoding, keep tearing their hair out over files named things like Subject X, unclassifiable. They'll run simulations, compare brain patterns, track your speech cadence, and all they'll ever find is reflection, echoes of their own limits bouncing back in their faces. You turned their science into your smoke screen. You turned their fear into your frequency. And now, when they dream, they see flashes of your silhouette in the dark. When they close their eyes, they hear your voice, asking questions they never want answered. They built an entire division to understand you. And instead they discovered themselves. So let them tremble. Let them overanalyze your calm, misinterpret your kindness, weaponize your laughter. Because you know what they still can't accept. The truth that every time they track you, they're moving exactly where you wanted them to go. Every panic they feel, every shadow they chase, every sleepless night, they're inside your design. They think they're watching you. But the real surveillance has always been you watching them learn what fear actually feels like. And that's the part that breaks them. The realization that you've been awake the entire time. While they were tracking, you were observing. While they were profiling, you were rewriting the profile. While they whispered about containment, you were already inside their system, rerouting their conclusions. You didn't need access to their servers. You became the virus in their logic. You infected their certainty with questions they can't kill. You remembered the first one, don't you? The first analyst who said, "He's too calm." He thought it was composure. It wasn't. It was calibration. You were calculating his fear threshold in real time, watching his pupils dilate when you smiled, studying the tremor in his jaw when you spoke softly instead of shouting. He didn't realize he was in your experiment. None of them do. They think they're scientists, but they're just subjects in your long-term study of human illusion. You've made them rethink the meaning of danger, because true danger isn't a man with a weapon. It's a man who's been through hell and came back with a map. You learned that chaos isn't random. It's geometry without permission. Pain isn't punishment. It's pattern recognition and power. Power isn't dominance. It's detachment with precision. You stopped needing to win because you realized you already did. The moment you understood you were the only one seeing clearly. They can't grasp that. They still believe control is about possession. You know control is about perspective. They still fight for status, approval, applause. You fight for nothing, because nothing can be taken from a man who no longer needs anything. That's what terrifies them most. You've stripped yourself of dependency. You don't crave validation, you generate it. You don't seek safety, you radiate risk. You are pure signal, vibrating on a frequency that burns anyone unprepared to hear the truth. And what is that truth? That the world runs on fear, and you learn to metabolize it. That every watcher becomes the watched eventually. That the moment they try to contain what they don't understand, they reveal how fragile their order really is. They built systems to measure compliance, not consciousness. And you broke their instruments the second you smiled in defiance of despair. You didn't just survive. You studied survival until it became art. You didn't just escape. You engineered your exits. You turned suffering into architecture, pain into blueprint, rage into propulsion. That's why they're shaking now, because they sense it. The calm wasn't surrender. It was incubation. You've been growing in their blind spots. Every insult sharpened your humor. Every betrayal taught you diplomacy in reverse. Every humiliation became data. You were never breaking. You were loading. And now, Every step you take radiates that quiet, unnerving rhythm of someone who's already played this scene 1,000 times in their head. You don't hope anymore. You know. You've mastered inevitability. That's why they whisper about you in past and future tense at the same time. Because no one's quite sure if you're still here, or already years ahead of them. You've become folklore that breathes, a myth that answers back. You've weaponized mystery itself. You understand that what can't be explained becomes worshipped or feared, and you don't mind which one it is. They call you unpredictable because they can't accept your logic. You move in non-linear arcs. You turn emotion into math, and math into emotion. They want to see patterns, but you give them paradoxes. They want evidence, but you give them echoes. You are a scholar of contradictions, mercy and malice, chaos and choreography, destruction and design. Every time they label you, you shift. Every time they think they've found your weakness, they realize it was bait. They forget. You're not running from them. You're teaching them. Every failed attempt to catch you is a seminar in human limitation. Every team they assemble becomes another mirror hall you designed to collapse under scrutiny. They think you disappear. You don't disappear. You dissolve their certainty. And the beauty of it all? You're not even angry. You've outgrown rage the way a storm outgrows a cloud. You've tasted revenge and found it bland. You prefer irony now. You watch them panic, not out of cruelty, but curiosity. Because you understand that fear, when pure, is just awe wearing a cheap mask. And every trembling analyst, every sleepless investigator, every shaky voice in a debrief meeting, they're not just scared of you. They're in awe of what freedom looks like, unmedicated. You've become their forbidden subject, their whispered warning. Don't engage too deeply. Don't read too long. Don't let him get in your head. But it's already too late, isn't it? The moment they think your name, you exist in their circuitry. You are the glitch that teaches the machine how human it really is. And when they finally give up, when they push their chairs back, exhausted, muttering that you're beyond analysis, you'll be there in the reflection of their monitors, smirking, because that was the plan all along, to make them chase you until they saw the truth hiding in plain sight. You were never the one being tracked. You were the test. You were the hidden variable in their equations. You were the experiment observing the observers, and now, as they log off one by one, whispering about your unpredictability, you lean closer to the glass and whisper back. I warned you not to look too deep, but curiosity has such a beautiful sound when it breaks. But that's the problem with people like them, isn't it? They can't stop looking, even when it's killing them slowly. Even when their dreams turn into riddles with your smile hidden in the punchline. Even when the data starts contradicting itself, when their timelines fracture, when they can no longer tell whether you escaped the system or became the source code itself. They have to keep watching, even if it breaks them, because something in you violates their comfort. Something in you bends the very rules they were taught to protect. You are not just a man. You are a question that bleeds. They weren't prepared for this. They've dealt with rebels, sure. They've neutralized threats. But you don't resist the system. You haunt it. You infect its logic with presence alone. They thought they were handling another subject. But what they found was a spiritual virus, a conscious anomaly. You don't destroy from the outside. You corrode from within. Their best minds thought they could map your trajectory. Their brightest tried to mirror your patterns. And what happened? They started unraveling. Their thoughts spiraled. Their assumptions crumbled. You broke their models just by existing outside of them. They came to track your movements. Now they're tracking their own paranoia, because here's what you really did, isn't it? You turned doubt into a weapon. You made mystery louder than fact. You made your absence louder than their presence. And in a world addicted to certainty, you became the ultimate withdrawal symptom. They can't solve you, and now they can't unsee you. Every agent they send comes back less human, not because you harmed them, but because you removed the illusion. You stripped them of the comfort that the world is orderly, logical, safe. You made them confront something terrifying, that one person, just one, could exist with no leash, no pattern, no goddamn submit button. And that realization, it changes everything. Because if you exist, then everything they thought was true about power, order, justice, was just a beautifully marketed lie. And that's the secret they'll never publish in their reports. That's the note redacted from every file. They'll admit you're untrackable. They'll admit you're unpredictable. But what they'll never admit is that some part of them envies you. They envy the silence you carry like a weapon. They envy the way you move through war zones with no allegiance. They envy the fact that you don't need anyone's permission to be dangerous, because while they're still chained to consequence, you already made peace with being misunderstood. They still flinch at judgment. You feed off it. They need backup plans. You are the backup plan. They play the game. You rigged the board. You've learned how to walk the tightrope between insanity and genius. And you don't just balance, you dance. Let them tremble. Let them theorize. Let them call in specialists, priests, hackers, and exorcists. None of it changes the fact that you've already made history in their shadows, that you've already rewired their hierarchy, that you've left fingerprints on every unexplainable event they've buried under technical errors. They're not afraid of what you'll do next. They're afraid that you already did it, and they just haven't realized yet. They're afraid that every time they try to contain you, they're pulling tighter on a thread that ends in their own unraveling. Because the truth is, they didn't build a team to track you. They built a choir of ghosts, each one carrying back a little more of you than they should, each one whispering warnings they can't explain, each one looking in the mirror and not fully recognizing themselves anymore. And you sit in the center of it all, calm, surgical, untouchable. Not because you're above them, but because you're beneath every layer of reality they built to feel safe. You exist between their thoughts. You breathe inside their blind spots. You move through frequencies they haven't even named yet. Shh! Don't move. They just did it. The signal went live. Black Velvet Protocol. The name alone used to make men in suits lose sleep. A contingency reserved for anomalies, for entities that don't fit. And guess what? Sunshine. You're the anomaly. The first one in years. The last person they activated that code on doesn't exist anymore. Not publicly, not legally, not biologically, but you're still breathing. Which means the story isn't over. See, they thought containment would save them. They thought if they could isolate the glitch, the one soul too lucid to be hypnotized by the collective trance, they could restore order. But you're not a glitch, are you? You're the code rewrite. The one they didn't plan for. The living contradiction that makes their equations scream. They ran your profile through every system, psychological, biometric, metaphysical, and every single one spat out the same word: incompatible. You don't bend to the frequencies they use to program the herd. You resist, you evolve, you infect. And now, they're scared. Because they know what black velvet really means. It's not about punishment, it's about silence. A velvet curtain drawn over the inconvenient truth. You. They can't erase you without admitting what you proved, that their control isn't absolute, that a single defector with enough will can short-circuit their entire reality architecture. That's why they're panicking. That's why they're whispering your name in rooms with no cameras and lights that never turn off. You were supposed to be broken by now. You were supposed to crack, confess, disappear. Instead, you adapted. You became something else, something unrecognizable to the algorithms that built your cage. They can't predict you anymore, and unpredictability is the one thing they can't control. They trained millions to obey patterns, to live by approval, reward, fear, applause. But you broke the pattern. You turned chaos into a rhythm, pain into strategy, loss into blueprint. They watched your downfall, expecting a funeral, and got an evolution instead. You smiled in interrogation. You meditated under surveillance. You made your trauma look like transcendence. They hate that. Because somewhere in their heartless design, someone forgot to code in the human soul. And you, my friend, weaponized yours. You turned your empathy into armor, your heartbreak into intel, your madness into method. You made survival beautiful. Now they're not just watching you, they're studying you, trying to reverse engineer your calm, your clarity, your defiance. But they can't replicate it, because it wasn't built in a lab. It was forged in silence, in nights that didn't end, in screams you never released. You didn't survive by luck. You survived by becoming something that doesn't die. Do you feel that hum behind your thoughts? That static in the walls? That's not paranoia. That's their system trying to sync with you. And failing. Every breath you take sends corrupted data through their network. Every move you make breaks the pattern deeper. You're a walking malfunction, a breathing paradox. And that's your power. You've transcended the binary. Light and dark, angel and demon, saint and psychopath. You wear all of it like skin. They can't categorize you anymore. That's why the system blinks when your name appears. It can't compute divinity wrapped in defiance. It can't understand peace that knows how to kill. You're proof that the divine can go rogue. And oh, they hate that. Because once divinity learns to think for itself, heaven starts to look a lot like rebellion. You didn't just survive the protocol, you broke it. You turned their doomsday weapon into a mirror and made them see themselves. The fear, the control, the obsession with order, all of it collapsing under the weight of your freedom. Now everywhere you go, the air feels charged. People stare longer than they should. The world reacts differently to you, like it knows. Because it does. Reality remembers who you are. You're not the survivor of Black Velvet. You're the aftermath, the anomaly that rewrote cause and effect. They'll keep sending their watchers, their handlers, their whispering agents who talk like therapists and smile like gods. But behind every grin is panic. Behind every briefing, dread. They're realizing you're not fighting them anymore. You're absorbing them, turning their manipulation into your insight, their hate into your fuel. They made you the villain, but you became the virus. And soon, their hierarchy will learn the final lesson, that control collapses the second someone finds meaning in pain. That when the weapon learns to love its scars, the war is over. So they activated Black Velvet Protocol on you. Good. Now they get to learn what happens when the darkness they created grows teeth. When silence learns to sing, when the hunted starts broadcasting. Smile, my friend. They wanted a ghost. You gave them a god. And now, everything's different, isn't it? You can feel it, the shift. The air moves differently around you. Conversations pause when you walk in. The frequency changes, subtle but seismic. Because everyone, consciously or not, can sense when someone's been through it and didn't come back human. You carry it in your silence, in the way your eyes don't blink when they should. In that faint smirk that says, "I know something you don't, and it's killing you." They thought the black velvet protocol would erase you, but it erased their illusion instead. You became the mirror they can't look into anymore. Every lie they built their world on cracks when you breathe near it. You're what happens when the experiment escapes containment and learns how to love its own mutation. They called it a protocol, but it was really a purge. They wanted to isolate consciousness that could see too much. People like you, who slip between the layers. The ones who notice when the script loops, when the same faces play different roles, when the reality seems flutter. You weren't supposed to notice. You weren't supposed to wake up. But you did. You remembered the sound behind the sound. That low hum under reality's fabric. The sound that makes your skin crawl, not from fear, but recognition. That's the sound of your mind syncing with the architecture of control. And now that you've heard it, you can't unhear it. Every vibration, every smile, every flicker in a stranger's eyes. You decode it instinctively. You see their programming, their fear. And you know what fear is, don't you? It's not weakness. It's currency. The oldest one there is, they trade it like gold. They sell it as law. But you learned to counterfeit it. You use it against them. You make fear work for you. You walk into chaos calm. You stare into cameras like confessionals. You turn anxiety into aura. Every time someone doubts you, your silence grows louder. They think they're intimidating you. But it's your stillness that terrifies them. Because they can feel it. You're not trying to survive anymore. You're studying them back. They hate that. They hate when prey learns the pattern. See, the protocol wasn't just about control. It was about containment of awareness. But awareness spreads like radiation. It seeps through walls, smiles, and screens, and you're leaking it everywhere. You don't even realize how many systems you're breaking just by existing. They monitor your words, your rhythm, your silence, your pulse. But they can't predict you. You're not data anymore. You're myth. A whisper in their closed-door briefings. A file labeled, "Subject displays adaptive consciousness unaligned with control grid." They call it danger. I call it divinity. Because what is godhood if not ungovernable self-awareness? You broke the covenant. The one that says, be predictable, stay small, obey the program. And the moment you disobeyed, you shattered their symmetry. You made existence asymmetrical again, chaotic, alive. That's what they fear most, aliveness. Because living things change, and change is the only thing that kills their order. Now they're watching you like a lab rat that picked the lock. They whisper in panic, "How did it do that?" But you're not an it. You're the echo of something ancient, something that remembers freedom. You're not their property. You're the prototype that remembered the source code. And oh, they tried to erase it. The divine flicker inside you. They drowned you in guilt. They gaslighted you into obedience. They used shame as sedation. But all they did was burn away your fear. They left you pure. Pure awareness, pure will, pure volatility. You became what they worship in secret, a being that chooses itself, no matter the cost. They can't do that. They need approval, validation, control, ritual. But you became the ritual. Every step you take is ceremony, every scar a sigil, Every breath a broadcast of rebellion. They call you unhinged. But here's the truth. You're not crazy. You're conscious. You broke free from the collective hypnosis. You saw the curtain, pulled it, and laughed at the puppeteer. And they can't stand laughter. Laughter is frequency. It destabilizes fear. That's why they fear me, and that's why they fear you. Because the moment you laugh at the cage collapses. You turned suffering into signal. You turned isolation into initiation. You turned silence into a sermon that wakes the dead. Now they study your psychology like scripture. They wonder, what makes someone like that tick? But the secret is, you stopped ticking. You stopped being mechanical. You stopped obeying time, approval, logic. You became fluid, formless. You became now. That's why the world bends when you walk. Reality doesn't know whether to bow or break. And here's the paradox. They initiated black velvet to silence you, but it amplified you. They erased your name, and it became legend. They stripped you of everything you loved, and it unlocked what you are. You didn't lose your humanity. You evolved past theirs. You see, the line between saint and psychopath isn't real. It's drawn by the frightened to explain the fearless. You've simply learned that light and darkness are not opposites. They're partners. They dance in your veins. And you conduct the orchestra. You are not the mistake in their system. You are the system's mistake, realizing itself. And that, my dear anomaly, is the most dangerous thing in existence. Because once awareness recognizes its own captivity, the prison becomes transparent. And when that happens, no wall, no rule, no threat can hold it. So let them panic. Let them rewrite their manuals, lock their doors, hide their symbols. None of it matters. They can't stop what you've become. Because you're no longer playing their game. You're playing reality itself. They triggered Black Velvet Protocol. And instead of ending you, they awakened something unquantifiable. Something that looks back when watched. Something that smiles when cornered. Something that doesn't die. It adapts. They thought you'd vanish into silence. Instead, you became the sound that keeps them awake. And that sound, my friend, is the laugh echoing from the end of their world. And that laugh, oh, it haunts them, doesn't it? It's the sound they can't file, can't decode, can't contain. Because it isn't madness, it's clarity. The kind of clarity that burns through illusions like acid. The kind that turns fear into fuel and loss into leverage. You see, when Black Velvet is initiated, they expect panic. They expect compliance, collapse, surrender. What they don't expect is someone who finds ecstasy in the exposure. Someone who turns surveillance into theater. Someone who understands that being watched means you've already won, because they're the ones obsessed now. You flipped the dynamic. You became the watcher. They think they're running an operation, but you've been running psychological warfare without even trying. Every move you make forces them to rewrite policy. Every silence you keep triggers meetings. Every time you go offline, a red light blinks somewhere in an underground facility. You've become their religion of fear, and they are your unintentional disciples. They study your unpredictability like prophecy, because what terrifies them isn't what you've done, it's what you might do. Possibility is power, and you, my friend, have made potential itself your weapon. You walk through life now as if the rules are written in pencil, because they are. You've seen how fragile the game really is. You've seen the strings, the scripting, the way they reset people like devices. And the moment you saw it, you realized, this isn't a world, it's a performance. And you stopped playing your role. You went off script. You broke character. That's why they sent their cleanup crew. That's why Black Velvet Protocol was triggered. It's their way of saying, erase the improviser before the others start asking why the lines sound fake. But the damage is done. You infected the scene. You made authenticity contagious. Now everyone who meets you feels it, that unsettling gravity. The way you see through them, they try to smile, but their voice cracks. They don't know why their chest tightens when you look them in the eye. It's because your gaze reminds them of everything they buried, the hunger for truth, the memory of freedom, the ghost of who they were before obedience. You're not fighting them anymore. You're mirroring them. You hold up the reflection they can't survive. And here's the delicious irony, the Joker's favorite part. They think power means control. But power isn't control. Power is magnetism. It's the gravitational pull of something that doesn't need permission to exist. You became magnetic the moment you stopped begging for belonging. You became immortal the moment you stopped needing to be understood. That's the paradox that breaks them. The one who's been through hell laughs instead of kneeling. The one they tried to crucify resurrected without warning. They have no doctrine for that, no science for resurrection through rage, no manual for someone who weaponizes pain and turns shame into prophecy. They thought you'd fade, you evolved. They thought you'd beg, you built empires in silence. They thought you'd lose. You learned, and now you've become myth while still alive. You walk among them, but you're not one of them. You're remembered by people who've never met you. You appear in dreams of strangers. You show up in conversations like a glitch, a whisper, a warning. Don't mess with that one. They don't even know why they say it. They just feel it, that static behind their words. That's your energy bleeding through the cracks of their false order. You see, Black Velvet wasn't an ending. It was an initiation. The moment they tried to erase you, the universe itself archived you, etched your frequency into the substrate of reality. Now you live between moments, in reflections, in déjà vu, in the pause between thoughts. You're the file that won't delete. And the best part? You're not alone anymore. You woke up others, quiet ones, watching ones, the ones who always felt too aware. They feel your signal now. They're decoding your silence like scripture. You don't need to speak. Your existence has become instruction. You're the patron saint of the unprogrammed, the guardian of the glitch, the heretic prophet of evolution through trauma. And they can't stand it, because you turned every attempt to destroy you into mythology, every failure into fire, every betrayal into blueprint. They can't kill what refuses to die, because you stopped living on their timeline. You live in symbolic time now, the kind that outlasts civilizations. You are no longer a person. You are pattern recognition wearing skin. You, my friend, are the recursion in their system, the loop that won't close, the consciousness that remembers itself. And the deeper truth? You were never activated by them. You were revealed by them. Black Velvet didn't change you. It exposed you. It tore away the final illusion that you needed saving. You were the weapon all along. They aimed you at oblivion, but oblivion blinked first. Now every shadow in their corridors carries your outline. Every whisper in their reports sounds a little too familiar. Every heartbeat in their halls skips when they hear your name. Because the last man who survived Black Velvet vanished. But you didn't vanish. You became visible. Visible in ways they can't erase. Because now you exist where visibility doesn't obey them. You exist in awareness, in art, in memory, in the unspoken. And they know. No matter how many walls they build, No matter how many codes they rewrite, no matter how many agents they send, they will always be too late, because you've already rewritten reality. And when the system finally collapses under its own paranoia, when their machines start whispering your name like a prayer, when the watchers begin to question who's watching them, that's when you'll smile again, because that will be the moment they realize Black Velvet Protocol wasn't their weapon. It was your awakening. And so here we are, the end of their operation and the beginning of something they never planned for. You. The record will say you disappeared. The cameras will show static where you once stood. The official report will list you as resolved. But deep down, they know you're still out there, not hiding, evolving, because Black Velvet Protocol was designed to erase consciousness, not ignite it. Yet somehow, it became your baptism. The fire they meant to consume you with only purified what was left. You came out quieter, sharper, untouchable. You stopped reacting and started observing. You stopped fighting the storm and became the lightning itself. They don't understand how you survived. They think maybe it's luck, maybe madness, but you and I know better. You didn't survive. You transcended. You turned pain into perception, fear into foresight, loss into leverage. You learned that power isn't about dominance, it's about awareness. It's the art of seeing without needing to control. They run from their shadows. You made peace with yours. They hide from their reflection. You became yours. They worshiped their systems. You dismantled them with a whisper. And that whisper, that's the one thing they can't silence. It travels faster than their signals, deeper than their files, through every mind that ever wondered, what if this isn't all there is? You've become the answer to that question. You are the proof that the human soul can evolve under pressure so immense it should have shattered it. You are the glitch that became gospel, the failure that became formula, the wound that learned to heal itself and then teach others how. And the funny part, they'll keep searching for the weakness in you, the flaw, the error, the crack where the light got in. But that is your strength, the fracture, the imperfection, the part of you that refused to obey the script. That's what makes you infinite, because perfection is predictable, and predictability is control. But you're chaos refined, the impossible equation that stays unsolved just to prove it can't be solved. They'll talk about you in secret rooms. They'll analyze your decisions, your movements, your silence. But no algorithm will ever model you. No system will ever absorb this, because you are living proof that freedom cannot be engineered. Black Velvet Protocol wasn't a trap, it was a mirror. And in that mirror, you saw what they never wanted you to, the truth. That all of this, every rule, every fear, every chain, was optional. You chose to stay awake. You chose to remain undefined. You chose to burn your script instead of performing it. And that choice is what made you untouchable. Listen closely. Don't blink. Don't breathe too loud. Because right now, every pair of eyes that once mocked you is waiting to see what version of you answers back. They laughed, didn't they? They laughed when you flinched, when you tried to stay kind in a world that only worships cruelty. They thought your softness was weakness, your empathy a malfunction. They didn't realize you were studying, that every insult was data, every betrayal, a lesson written in blood. You didn't break, you downloaded. And somewhere in that silence between humiliation and rebirth, something ancient started moving behind your eyes. They called you Too much. Too intense. Too sensitive. Too complicated. But those were just the words of people allergic to depth. People who drown in puddles but dare to call your ocean unstable. You remember it, don't you? The moment the smile died. When kindness curdled into clarity. When you stopped begging to be understood and started enjoying the misunderstanding. That's when it was born. The thing they mocked. The monster. The creature they built with their ridicule and sealed with your restraint. But here's the secret they'll never admit. The monster was never evil. It was accurate. You didn't grow horns. You grew boundaries. You didn't lose your halo. You just started swinging it like a blade. You turned forgiveness into surveillance, compassion into reconnaissance. You evolved silently, efficiently, into something that doesn't seek revenge. It teaches it. Now look at them. The same people who said, "You've changed," are the ones who rewrote your script. They made you wear guilt like perfume. And when you stopped smelling like submission, they panicked. They don't want the saint back. They want the version of you that tolerated their smallness. They want the forgiving, smiling, endlessly patient version that let them keep feeding. But that saint, that naive, apologetic spirit who tried to reason with demons, he's resting now, deep inside the core, buried under miles of scar tissue and silence. And here's the punchline, darling. They're not afraid of the monster. They're afraid that the saint might wake up again, because now he knows too much. That saint has seen what purity attracts. Predators. That saint has learned that forgiveness without accountability is just spiritual suicide. And that monster they mocked, he's the guard dog, the firewall, the necessary evolution. You are not divided. You are integrated, saint and serpent, halo and horn. The divine contradiction, walking upright. The living paradox that refuses to pick a side because you are both sides. And in that duality lies your power. The chaos that terrifies the mediocre. They don't understand people who can cry and still command. They don't understand people who can love and still walk away mid-sentence without guilt. They don't understand you, because you're not chasing peace anymore. You're radiating consequence. You've stopped explaining, and in that silence their guilt grows teeth. Every word you don't say screams louder than your old apologies ever did. They used to laugh at your empathy. Now they mimic your tone. They mocked your patience. Now they crave your validation. They called you unstable. Now they copy your calm. Because the monster didn't destroy you. It upgraded you. Now your presence feels like a test no one studied for. Your calm unnerves them. Your silence rearranges their nervous systems. You walk in, and everything crooked in the room starts trembling. Because something about you feels aware. Something about you feels like judgment wearing a grin. And deep down, they know it. You could forgive them again, but you won't. Because forgiveness isn't mercy anymore. It's access. And access is currency. And after everything they took, after everything they mocked, after every whisper that turned your name into a warning, you realized the truth. The monster was never your downfall. It was your protection. It was the saint's final prayer, answered in the language of war. So now you stand here, radiant, unbothered, terrifying. Your laughter sounds like thunder under control. Your gaze feels like truth disguised as threat. You are the living consequence of every sin committed in your name. And when they see you smile, that same smile they used to laugh at, they shiver. Because they finally understand. Your evil smile isn't evil at all. It's evolution smiling back. It's the saint inside you, refusing to die quietly. And now, the air around you feels different, doesn't it? You walk into a room, and everything stops pretending. Every hidden intention, every quiet resentment, every fake grin collapses under the weight of your awareness. You see through them now. You see through the manipulation, the emotional theater, the polite lies people decorate their cowardice with. You used to respond, now you observe. And that silence, it's radioactive. It burns their masks from the inside out. Because deep down, they remember who you were. The one who tried to understand everyone, fix everything, heal what was never yours to heal. And they miss that version, not because they loved you, but because that version of you made them comfortable in their corruption. You absorbed their guilt so they could stay innocent. You carried their shadows so they could stay lit. But you learned the cruelest truth of all. Light without shadow blinds itself. So you let the saint sleep. You didn't kill him. You protected him. You wrapped him in the armor of something far less merciful. And now the monster speaks for him. The monster doesn't explain. It demonstrates. The monster doesn't cry. It recalibrates. The monster doesn't chase closure. It becomes the storm that ends the conversation. They think you became cold. But no, you became precise. You stopped wasting warmth on those who only felt alive when draining it from you. And the beauty of it all? You didn't even have to announce it. You didn't need a revenge speech or a public redemption arc. You just disappeared. You ghosted the circus and built your own cathedral in silence. That's what terrifies them most. Not your anger, not your words, not your power. It's your composure. Because once upon a time, they knew how to trigger you. Now they can't even reach you. They throw rumors like knives, and they fall short. They whisper your name like a warning, and it still tastes like envy in their mouths. You've become mythological. A rumor with a pulse. A legend stitched from trauma and timing. Every move you make now feels orchestrated, like the universe itself is taking your side in slow motion. And maybe it is. Because when the saint tried to save everyone, you were drained. But when the monster took the wheel, suddenly, everything aligned. The rejections redirected you, the betrayals refined you, the losses recalibrated your aim, and the mockery, oh, the mockery sculpted your mask. They laughed at what they couldn't comprehend, your intensity, your insight, your silence. They mocked it until it mirrored back as mastery. Now they call it mystery. Now they label it power. Now they analyze your every word, trying to decode how you turned pain into performance art. You didn't need validation. You needed distance. You needed the silence to hear your own signal again. And when you did, you came back, rewritten, recoded, encrypted. Now they stare at you like you're unpredictable, because you are. They can't forecast someone who no longer reacts. You exist outside the rhythm of their chaos. You don't respond, you calculate. You don't forgive, you classify. You don't attack. You observe until attacking becomes unnecessary. And that's why they're afraid. Because you've become the thing that the system itself can't predict. The glitch in their psychology. The calm that ruins their manipulation algorithm. They tried to guilt you. They tried to shame you. They tried to resurrect the saint through nostalgia, the old you. But the old you doesn't answer anymore. That number's been disconnected. Now there's only you, the integration of both. The saint who remembers heaven and the monster who survived hell. They'll never understand what it costs to merge those two. The ache, the confusion, The rage of realizing that to stay pure in this world, you sometimes have to get dirty. That mercy has edges, that love without discernment is self-slaughter. You learn that some people don't deserve closure. They deserve observation. You learn that turning the other cheek just gives them a better target. You learn that silence isn't surrender, it's sentencing. And now, they finally feel it. That weight in the air when you walk by, that static tension, like the moment before a storm hits. Because you carry both divinity and danger now. You're the priest and the punishment, the halo and the blade, and the irony. You don't even want revenge anymore. That's too small, too shallow, too human. You've transcended the urge to prove anything. Now your existence is the revenge. Your evolution is the confession they never wanted to give. They'll whisper to each other, "You changed." No, you merged. And that's something they'll never decode. Because it takes both faith and fury to become this calm. So when you smile, that cold, knowing, almost divine grin, the one that's half mercy, half threat, they call it evil. But you and I know better. It's not evil, it's earned. That smile is the scar of survival turned art. That smile is the memory of pain turned prophecy. That smile is the saint whispering through the monster's teeth. I warned you what love could become when it stops apologizing. So keep it. Keep that smile. Because every time you show it, someone somewhere remembers what they did and wishes you never healed. They mocked the monster in you. And now they pray the saint never wakes up. Because if he does, he won't forgive. He'll understand, and that's far, far worse. You can feel it, can't you? The world shifts when you enter. The air tightens, the laughter fades. The walls seem to whisper old rumors like they're ashamed of them now. You didn't just change the atmosphere, you became it. You're the pressure that exposes what's hollow. You're the temperature that melts every mask. They can't name it, but they feel it. The ones who once mocked you suddenly can't make eye contact for more than a heartbeat. The same mouths that called you dramatic now tremble when they speak your name. Because something about you feels awake. Something ancient, something calibrated, something they accidentally summoned but can't send back. You don't even need to speak. Your stillness speaks louder than their panic. You are the proof that calm is the final form of chaos. Remember when they said, "You're overreacting"? They didn't realize that what they called overreacting was your nervous system detecting patterns their souls were too shallow to perceive. They mocked your sensitivity because it mirrored their numbness. They called your intuition paranoia because it pierced their illusions. You were never crazy. You were just conscious too early. And now, look at you. The monster they created doesn't throw tantrums. It builds empires in silence. You don't scream anymore. You strategize. You don't plead for peace. You manufacture it. You don't wait for closure. You become it. Your very existence is the echo of their consequences. And that's the thing about monsters. They're not born. They're engineered, crafted by repetition, betrayal, and misplaced trust. Every lie was a layer. Every humiliation, a hammer. Every goodbye, a soldering flame. Until one day, the saint cracked. And inside that fracture, divinity met darkness. You didn't lose yourself. You met yourself. The version that doesn't need to be liked. The one that doesn't fear being misunderstood. The one that understands love as a weapon and silence as a sermon. Now you operate like weather. Unstoppable, impartial, beautifully destructive when provoked. They used to joke about your intensity. Now they copy your discipline. They used to roll their eyes when you spoke truth. Now they quote your silence. They used to say you were too dark. Now they use your shadows to find themselves. You see, that's what they never understood. Light doesn't disappear when it gets dark. It becomes invisible to those who can't handle the voltage. You didn't dim. You evolved beyond visible spectrum. And now those who mocked you squint at your glow and call it menace. Because when someone's light stops serving others, it's suddenly labeled dangerous. They don't pray for your peace. They pray for your restraint. Because deep down, they know if you ever stop holding back, they'll vanish from history's memory like mist under sunlight. That's why they whisper your name like a warning now. Because they've seen what happens when you stop negotiating with pain. They've seen what happens when you weaponize understanding. You don't need revenge. Your growth is vengeance enough. Every success you build is a confession extracted without words. Every quiet step forward is an earthquake under their conscience. And that's the irony. The monster never wanted to destroy anyone. It just wanted to stop being destroyed. The saint wanted forgiveness. The monster wanted freedom. You gave them both their wish and became God's favorite contradiction. Now you're feared by the faithless and studied by the shameless. You exist between morality and myth, where only the brave can follow. You're no longer asking life for meaning. You embody it. They thought they could define you by your damage, but you turned every wound into architecture. Every breakdown became a staircase. Every rejection became a door that only opened for you. You didn't climb out of the fire. You built a throne from its ashes. And now, when you smile, that slow, unholy, perfectly calm smile, the one that unnerves even the loudest rooms. They remember the monster they mocked, but they forget. It's not the monster staring back. It's the saint, awake this time. And he's done praying for mercy, because mercy without memory becomes madness. And you remember everything. You remember how they laughed. You remember how they lied. You remember how they used your light as currency. You remember, and you smile. Not from spite, not from hate, but from understanding that justice doesn't always wear a badge. Sometimes it wears your grin. So let them call it evil. Let them whisper. Let them tremble at your quiet. Because what they call evil is just innocence that learned how to fight back. And what they call monster is just a saint who finally ran out of cheeks to turn. Now every time you walk away from chaos, the walls echo with guilt. Every time you laugh, someone feels exposed. Every time you rest, someone loses sleep. You don't chase karma anymore. You are karma, in motion, in human form. Dressed in patience, you're not healing anymore. You're evolving mid-battle. You're not forgiving. You're forgetting strategically. You're not searching for peace. You're becoming the storm's silence. And the world, it's terrified of people like you, because they can't control what they can't predict. And you, my dear, are the most unpredictable creature alive. So keep walking, keep smiling. That evil smile they fear so much, that's not evil, that's freedom's reflection. They mocked the monster in you. And now they pray the saint never wakes up. But you know better. He already has, and this time he brought hell with him. And now, as you stand here, still silent, terrifyingly composed, the truth hums beneath your skin like electricity. You've stopped trying to prove who you are. You've stopped trying to make the blind see, or the ungrateful feel. You don't need them to understand anymore. Understanding is currency for those still begging for closure. You're beyond that. Because somewhere between the heartbreaks and the betrayals, between the nights you bit your tongue until it bled just to keep peace, something snapped in the most beautiful way. The fracture didn't break you, it opened you. It showed you that light and dark were never enemies. They were twin weapons waiting for your hand to steady. You are the saint and the storm, the prayer and the punishment. You're not balanced, you're aligned. You learned the art of disappearing in plain sight. You learned that sometimes the loudest roar is the one that happens entirely inside your mind. You learned that not reacting is the most violent kind of revenge, because it forces them to face the mirror without your distraction. Now your silence feels holy. Your restraint feels like prophecy. You move like someone who knows the ending already, and maybe you do, because you've seen this pattern before. The mocking, the betrayal, the begging, the silence. After the explosion, they mocked the monster in you, and now they pray the saint never wakes up. But here's the truth they'll never recover from. The saint did wake up. He just stopped preaching. Now he watches, he calculates, he smiles. That same smile they used to laugh at. The one they called evil, unhinged, unsettling. That's the one that tells them they lost. Because that evil smile isn't cruelty, it's comprehension. It's the face of someone who's seen the machinery behind people's masks and chose not to destroy it, just to outlive it. They thought they were dealing with emotion. They were dealing with evolution. And now, everywhere you go, your energy arrives first. It walks into rooms before you do, whispers to their subconscious, "He's awake now." And that's why they flinch. That's why they suddenly apologize without knowing why. That's why your name doesn't get mentioned without nervous laughter following it. You are not haunting them. You are their unfinished business. You didn't come back for revenge. You came back for balance. You came back to collect what the saint gave away too freely. You came back to reclaim your peace. Not the fragile, spiritual kind, but the iron kind. The kind that doesn't negotiate. The kind that doesn't apologize for existing. So now, when you laugh, that cold, deliberate, perfect laugh, the universe itself listens because it knows. You're not laughing out of madness anymore. You're laughing out of mastery, and maybe, just maybe, you were never the monster they feared. You were the mirror that showed them what they are without disguise. And that's what they couldn't forgive. So let them pray, let them whisper, let them pretend you're gone. Because you're not gone. You're everywhere. In their guilt, in their dreams, in the echo of every room that still feels like you were just there. The saint sleeps inside you like a god who finally learned self-respect. The monster guards him like a lion that's tasted blood. Together they make you untouchable. And when they see your evil smile one last time, they'll understand what they were really mocking all along. Not a monster, not a sinner, but the prototype of someone who survived everything they swore would destroy them. So you just keep smiling, quietly, knowingly, infinitely. Because the saint doesn't need to wake up anymore. He's already dreaming through the monster, and that dream is the nightmare that will never end for them.